Hi, my name is Kasper Bormans. I'm a researcher at Maastricht University, and I will be presenting my work on expositions of children's drawings to reduce stigma regarding the elderly and dementia. Dementia and old age are overloaded with stigma and harmful connotations. How can we change that? In our study, we collected over 800 children's drawings from 100 children, and we organized a large exhibition about it. We reached over 3,000 visitors in 3 weeks. Children can teach us to focus more on dignity, positivity, and humanity. So this research indicates that the perspective of children can help the general public to nuance the negative view of old age and dementia. I will be presenting the three main insights from our research. How do children look at old age and dementia? It's interesting to find out that the inventors of Lego do not include noses as facial features in their toys. These insights are based on the drawings of children who, when they are young, they almost never draw a nose on a face. So how come we as a society do not listen to the viewpoint from a child? Because it can have huge impact. So in our research, we encourage to do this in a broader sense for society as a whole. Let me share the three main points in our research. First of all, our main finding is called O. It was a little surprise. We were interested in giving people, the young children, a positive viewpoint on the elderly. So we know from research that when you have a positive view of old age, chances are you will live longer and happier for 7.5 years. So why not use these insights at elementary schools and in education? So first of all, we encourage children to make drawings of the elderly. And it was in October 2021 when COVID seemed to be behind our back. But all of a sudden, next week, there was a new peak, and children were told they were the source of contamination, and they had to keep their distance from the elderly. And we noticed that COVID could have an impact on their drawings. For this, for example, this individual drawing, for instance, it's when you ask a child to draw the elderly, they include mouth caps. So imagine you ask this question 10 or 50 years ago, chances were very little that such a portrait would appear. So what we discovered, we asked all 10-year-olds. So in our study, we included 100 children who made 800 drawings. And from left to right, so the first drawing round, they had to make 4 drawings, draw an elderly person who is doing something, so it's neutral, who is very happy and healthy. For some reason, they're always eating apples and drinking water. Who is unhappy, unhealthy. Most of the time, they are laying flat in their beds and with the curtains closed. And the fourth assignment is draw your own grandparent. And our plan was to do 16 weeks of positive interventions, and we would expect a positive impact in the second drawing round, but all as a pattern for almost every child, all the drawings were remarkably smaller. So our hypothesis is that the social distance is also visible in their drawings. If you are further from something, it's smaller. Another example, again, first drawing round during COVID, large figures, and after this remarkable social experiment with social distance, the figures are all smaller once more. So this is very disturbing, actually. So how can we turn it around? Is it also possible to bring generations together? So from awe, we go to awe. So it's a hopeful signal. What we try to do is based on the insight. In the middle is my real grandma, and at her side is a person who feels like a second grandma. Now you only have an image of what it's like to have someone as a second grandma if you have the concept of your own grandparents. So this is also supported by something in the literature, it's called the contact hypothesis. If you have an in and an out group, you have to go through the middle, through the commonality. So the child has to identify itself with someone from the out group, so the grandparents can play a crucial role. So this insight we used to develop a positive trajectory of interventions. For instance, we let children play the game of imagination or make a memory palace with their own grandparents. And next step, we take them to a nursing home nearby, and they have positive contact moments. And before and after doing so, also 16 weeks, the trajectory, we let them make the same drawings outside of COVID restrictions, and we see the opposite pattern. So here is a child who makes the 4 assignments once more. And after 16 weeks of positive interventions, the figures are remarkably bigger. So it looks like when you bring people together, it's also changing the mental landscape of a child. So this is also a hopeful signal for education and yeah, taking care of someone as a whole. Another example, here you have all the first drawings, and once more, over the whole line, they are remarkably bigger. So we also measured every individual drawing, and also what you can see in the figures is that all the drawings during COVID are shrinking, and all the portraits or outside COVID, where we have positive interactions, are enlarged, and so they are growing. All the O drawings over the whole line. So this is a very important insight. It's just not one drawing, it's a whole line of drawings. You see that the average length of the portrayed elderly people is shrinking in the condition during COVID. And after COVID, when we do exactly the same trajectory, it's the opposite pattern. So as a final insight, so we have from O to A, and our third remarkable insight is we started to get interested. What would happen if you do nothing at all in between? So just let the children make the drawings, then do nothing at all. There are no restrictions. Would there be more similarity between the drawings? And yes, so what you see here is 3 figures in a green shirt, and the fourth is blue. 16 weeks later, it's exactly the same pattern. And the interesting thing is that the child is not aware what he drew 16 weeks earlier. So it looks like these mental images are frozen. Also here you have all kinds of scenarios. For instance, their own grandparent is portrayed in the kitchen, and 16 weeks exactly the same. So nothing seemed to have happened. This looks like it's a confirmation of the contact hypothesis. If you do not have a targeted intervention or an unusual situation like COVID, the mental imagery of a child, and perhaps for all of us as a society, could be frozen. But you can defrost it, make it positive, and freeze it in again. So this is a hopeful signal for education, for instance. So it's a confirmation. It looks like a confirmation of the contact hypothesis. And also it's a signal for us as a society to take responsibility. How can we make children look more positive at old age and dementia? It starts with our own communication. How do we talk about our own life and the elderly as a whole? So how do children look at old age? Let's go from O to A. Thank you for your attention. And if you would like some further information, please feel free to contact me at all times. enjoy the conference. Bye.